This is the Ask Faleskini podcast, where the modern economy is discussed from a skeptic's perspective. Mr. Faleskini helps you distinguish what is sustainable in our economy and what isn't. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not all mud is dirty. The podcaster Mr. Faleskini provides no-nonsense advice. He had it all, lost it all, went bankrupt multiple times, and is now attempting to come back from zero with sustainable growth. There are numerous coaches and preachers on the internet that preach about positive thinking and how life is all roses if you just care to see it that way. Well, Mr. Faleskini is definitely not one of them. We recommend you ask Faleskini to keep it real. He discusses the darker side of the current economic reality, the side that's more important for your personal and business finance. His first intention is to help you keep what you already have. Not to be a complete party pooper, Mr. Faleskini will also hint at the earning opportunities in the economy today. In order to please the almighty algorithm, please like, share, and subscribe. And now it's time to start taking notes. The mic goes to the podcaster, the one and only Mr. Faleskini.
Welcome to the Ask Faleskini podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Seb Brantigan from Ipswich, United Kingdom. Seb is a business optimization specialist who can show you how to increase your time, revenue, and profits using technology automation. Seb, please tell us more about yourself. What is your story?
Hey, Peter, thanks so much, first of all, for having me on here on today's podcast. So, my story is I've always been interested in social media and helping business owners to grow and scale their business. That's something I've been doing for close to 10 years now. And we do that through a variety of different ways within our agency, DBSS Digital. So we use a variety of social media strategies, software strategies, automation tools, which we can definitely get into today and I could share more about in a lot of detail. And, our goal is to help business owners to buy back their time. That's what I'm very passionate about and what I aim to do with everyone that I am in touch with, whether they work with me or whether they don't work with me. That's a big passion of mine.
Very nice. I would like to address some of dilemmas that are now really popular in the general public. One is that social media is not what it used to be, and that it's really hard to make anything on social media, that there is no generic growth, and that you have to pay everything if you want to achieve a reach. And even if you achieve a reach, you have huge problem by going from reach to sales. What's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of marketing your business and selling on social media, there's a lot of steps in order to go from getting your business in front of someone to getting them as a customer for your business. And so, a big part of that is through your social media content. One of the strategies that we implement is showing business owners how to nurture their audience, give a lot of value. This is something I talk about in my book I've written. My book's called Social Marketing Success, which is available on Amazon. And within that, I share 4 key strategies to grow your business with social media. And you can do that without having to even pay for advertising as well. So, of course, you can pay for advertising and, there's some benefits to that, of course. But, I've grown my business largely through social media without using paid advertising by simply growing an audience and sharing value that I believe my audience wants and needs in order to attract clients towards my business. I feel if you give enough value and you tell people where to go to get even more value, then that's how you can grow your business on platforms like social media.
Okay, one of the main concerns of an average entrepreneur is, especially if they're in consulting on similar space, is if they disclose too much on social media, that the clients just won't hire them for more in-depth info. How do you cross that bridge? Where is the line between what you disclose and where you add value to your clients, and when do you start charging for the value that you add?
Yeah, because it's a great question, and I've tried to think of ways to sum it up, but I heard a really great phrase from a guy called Matt Elwell, who's a sales trainer. I've been to, and he described it perfectly, which is charge for implementation. With a lot of business owners I work with, I can share, for free, a number of ways in which they can grow their business. One of them is social media. Another one of them is using marketing automation, which is a separate topic. But I can share some key ways where business owners can grow their business. And that part you can do for free. The part that I would charge for is helping business owners to actually implement that information, and in a way that's unique to them, of course. So it's all about sharing, or not sharing too much, obviously, but you want to be able to give away something that's valuable for sure, but you don't want to give away too much. You've got to have that balance as well, right? And it's definitely a case of if you do find people are saying, oh, that's great, thanks, I got what I need, and you hear that feedback a lot, then maybe you are giving away too much for free. That's a mistake I've made before in the past, is give away too much for free. So you've got to really have that balance. And I believe, charging for that implementation is the best way to keep that balance.
Okay. So basically, if I understand correctly, what you're doing is you're sharing the theory, but know-how of implementation and assistance in implementation, you're charging. That is really smart concept. I would also like to know your take on, you mentioned social media versus marketing automation. I would like to know what's your take. There are still people that claim that email marketing is much more efficient than social media marketing. What's your take on that?
Yeah, of course. So, for me, email marketing is a big part of what we do at our agency. We manage the send of around 2 to 3 million emails per month. So it's something we are very big on, very passionate about. Now, in terms of how does it compete with social media? Well, the social media side of things, it's very easy to get up and running with. So if you're a new business owner, or you're just starting, or maybe you've been in business for a while, you just haven't done online marketing yet, social media is a great place to start. It's very easy to get up and running with, build an audience. And again, you can start to do that for free. Where email marketing comes in is it's a very long-term strategy. It takes a while to build up an email list and to build up an audience through the email marketing side of things, and to build up a database. So it definitely depends where you're at in your business. A great way of growing your email list quickly is by doing paid marketing. That's a very quick way to build your list. But obviously you do need a marketing budget to go along with that. And, it obviously, for a lot of business owners that are don't have much of a marketing budget, my advice would be to stick with the social media strategies. So there's pros and cons to both. I use both in different situations, but I believe for the right business, email marketing is a very powerful, cost-effective tool if you compare it to things like radio advertising or print advertising, which can be very expensive in comparison. The other thing I love about email marketing, it's instantaneous. You can send an email and it immediately goes out. If you're doing other forms of marketing that are more traditional, it takes a lot longer to even get your message out there. And we as business owners, we want to get quicker results, right? We want to be waiting a long time for results. So again, there's pros and cons for both. I know some business owners using both social media and email marketing, and the two can definitely go hand in hand for sure.
Okay, you mentioned growing your email list. How do you feel about purchasing an email list? Because there is so much email lists on offer today. What's your take on that?
I think in a lot of situations, it's not as effective as generating your own leads. So purchasing a list, the problem with buying a list is, first of all, when you're looking to do that, if you are looking to purchase a list, you need to be careful of the data that you're purchasing. As in, if you're buying a list, you need to look at how old the data is and how it was generated. If you're buying a list of, let's say, a list of, tradespeople, for example, or people in the construction industry, I would say, get as much information as possible as to when that list was generated, how it was generated, and the relationship with that list before you get your hands on anything. What you don't want to be doing is purchasing an email list that you don't even know if the emails are valid, and you don't know how old the information is. Because, if you have a list that is several years old and no one's reached out to them, half of those emails could be invalid or no longer in service. So that's one thing to be very careful of. The other thing to be careful of is the GDPR side of things. So if you are emailing people that have a business email, then that's fine to do under GDPR. So there's some GDPR rules that you'll need to check and read up about, because that has a bit of an impact as well. And the third thing about it is, when you do, assuming it is a good quality list and you followed GDPR rules and regulations and good practices there, then there's still going to be, you still need to build that relationship with that email list. So if you are going to be doing those things and buying a list, then I'd recommend not going in there for the sale immediately and going in there and warming up and nurturing these emails. My advice would be, it's better to generate your own email list and your own leads that actually know you and are qualified than it is to purchase a list. But there's always exceptions to that rule.
Thank you very much for this insight. I would like to know your take on social media, whether you should use one channel and focus on one social media and then just share on other platforms, or you should focus on all platforms and do separate strategies for each of the platforms.
Yeah, it's a great question. So my advice would be, when you're first starting out, start with the one platform and really master that platform and grow your audience, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn. I would find that one platform. And once you start to have an audience that's responding to you, and you're able to, get to that stage where you want to add more social media networks, then, that's something you should definitely do in future. I would say, when you're first starting, there are some exceptions. Some platforms like Instagram linked well with Facebook. So Meta owns both Facebook and Instagram. So that means if you create content on Instagram, you can easily post it to Facebook and vice versa. So there's a few little exceptions to that, but keep it very simple. And my advice would be to someone who's looking to grow a second platform or move into a second platform is, with the platform you've already got, have you already exhausted your audience with that particular platform? In most cases, the answer is no, and you can always grow a bigger audience on a specific platform. But, you're better off being known on one platform than you are being part of 10 platforms where you're not really known at all. And the mistake I see people make is spreading themselves too thin, and they feel like they have to be posting on 10 platforms all the time, which is definitely not the case. You should have a presence on multiple platforms for sure and get yourself set up, but you don't need to be continuously posting on more than 2 platforms when you're getting going with social media. So I always say, keep it simple, and again, nurture that one platform and master that before you move on.
So social media is one of channels. How important is to offer support over social media, not just over email? What do you think about support and using social media channels to support your clients?
Yeah, again, great question. And this is something I see a lot of. I do find with a lot of clients we work with, oftentimes if someone has a question or a query or possibly a complaint, they do often tend to send that through social media anyway, and rather than email. So, you need to have a process where it's very easy for people to contact you through social media. it's important to also have a good response rate. So I know platforms like Facebook, when you message a particular business page, it will actually show the default response rate. And you want that to be as quick as possible so that people know if they have something that they need some support or help with and they want to reach you, they know that they're going to get a response in a quite timely manner, ideally under 24 hours. So I think it's really key because a lot of people are moving away from email and moving to social media. It's definitely in terms of creating that goodwill with your existing clients and with potential clients, having that presence on social media where you can support clients is definitely really, really important. In fact, another tool that I'm seeing is becoming more and more popular is WhatsApp as well. So WhatsApp is a social media platform, and which also can be linked with Facebook as well. So let's say someone is trying to reach you as a business, you can have an option on your Facebook page where someone can actually reach you via a WhatsApp number or a WhatsApp line. And again, it's just having that reachability and being able to support your existing clients or potential clients in a way that suits them best.
Okay. I have another question for you, and I think you're the person that would answer it the best way. More and more chatbots are being used by entrepreneurs to answer simple questions and simple queries. What's your take on that? How is it beneficial to use chatbot, or you should have a person that is in direct contact with your client?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, great question again. So yeah, you can use chatbots in a variety of ways. Through Facebook is one of them. You can also do this through WhatsApp as well. I always find it a great way to filter down people's responses. So if someone is trying to message you or your business, then you can send them down a particular path if they're looking for a particular solution. And in some cases, you can set it up so if someone is maybe trying to reach out to you about access to a membership site or access to a product they've purchased, what you can do within chatbots and in Messenger is you can actually have that as almost a drafted response for them, that if they're trying to message you, you can reply back saying, are you looking to reach us about this problem or that problem? So in a lot of cases, you can actually, if you set it up correctly, someone can go through those channels and automatically be sent through the right path without even needing to speak to someone. Now, again, you would need, in some situations, a human being on the line to help with particular queries. Of course, I don't think AI or chatbots will ever replace that, but it can save a lot of time if someone is, again, trying to reach you for a particular query, especially if it's a recurring thing. Then you can set up automations to, if someone has a particular query, you can send them to this path or that particular support page. And so it just saves you a lot of time, and it saves you having to have someone manually respond all the time. So it's a massive benefit in that way.
So basically, right now, all these bots are just useful to answer the frequently asked questions.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So let's go into a small company in UK. What would be the right amount to invest in social media marketing per month, for example?
Yeah, awesome. So in terms of if you're looking to do paid marketing through social media, the minimum you can get started with is £1 a day. So from just £1 a day, you can pay to advertise anything such as driving people to your website or generating leads, or you can also run adverts to grow your following, so your Facebook page or your Instagram followers. So you can actually start with a very small amount. And in fact, the maximum I'd recommend most small businesses start with is £200 a month. And even for that, you can get quite a bit of exposure, and you can also target the ideal people that you want to target. So I would definitely say, even if you did have a big budget, I would still say start small, start conservative, and I would invest no more than £5 a day whilst you're testing some adverts and getting going.
How important is trial and error with pitches and when you're building your site, or if you're trying to draw people to your web shop? How important is to try your texts and understand what works and what does not work? And is it real that ChatGPT writes good pitches and good text?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So, ChatGPT does fairly good writing. I think a lot of people don't use it correctly, and they need to create the right prompts so they get the best information out of ChatGPT. In terms of the trial and error side, that's something that we're very big on in our agency, especially when it comes to the paid marketing side. Because for every penny that you spend, you want to get the most amount of results for what you're investing. So, for us, trial and error is really, really key. And even if you're not doing paid marketing, if you're doing organic marketing, it's what we call free marketing, what we refer to as, then you still want to track the results from any marketing piece you do, whether it's paid, not paid. You want to track the effectiveness, and you want to measure the data and be data driven. So, for example, if you create a Facebook post, whether it's free or paid, you want to be able to track the results from that post. And it doesn't matter how you track that, it's completely up to yourself. But you need to be able to do a lot of testing and then tracking everything that you're doing, so you can measure what's working and what's not. You can only improve what you're measuring. So being able to test and then measure the results of the test is a really key way to improve a lot quicker.
Thank you for all these insights. I would like to talk about one more challenge or issue before we conclude this interview, and that is return on investment. Yeah. How much money should small businesses invest in social media and marketing automatization, and what is the return that they can expect?
Yeah, of course. So in terms of ROI, so again, that's something we're very, very passionate about. And of course, it does vary from industry to industry. And before I get into the answer, it's very important, before getting into paid marketing, or really any marketing in general, that you have a very clearly defined sales process, as well as a clearly defined metrics and a way of measuring your results. So, for example, it's very important to measure things like cost per lead, but it's also important to measure your cost per sale. So how much does it cost you to actually acquire a sale? Let's say for every 10 leads you generate, do you get 1 sale, 2 sale, 5 sales? What's your closing ratio? Those are really important when it comes to measuring your ROI. So in terms of the answer, through paid marketing, you can expect 2.5 to 4 times return on your ad spend typically, but it would depend on, again, some of those metrics, some of those closing ratios. For example, I've got a client who works in the insurance industry, and he would pay a lot for leads, as much as £50 per lead, which is very expensive. However, when he closes a client, that's worth around £5,000 to him. So if he spent £500 and he generated 10 leads, so £50 each, and he closed one of those leads, then he would generate £5,000. His profit would be £4,500, and he would have 10x his return. That's obviously a hypothetical scenario, but being able to understand how much you're willing to pay to generate a sale, and then how much is a sale worth to you. If we compare it to our industry in terms of ROI, when it comes to advertising our sales in our own business, we may even lose money on the first month, even if we sign up a client from our advertising. So month 1, we're down on investment. However, month 2, because we have retainers, month 2, we can expect to break even when this customer renews. And then month 3, we can actually be in profit. If we was to generate a client that was paying us, £500 a month, and we spent £500 to get the client, it would take a few months for us to generate the profit. But if you're able to keep that client for years and years to come, our retention rate's quite good, then actually, our lifetime value is really, really high. So it's definitely a detailed answer. There's a lot of variables that go into it. But if you're able to be in a business where you have a monthly recurring income, then Facebook ads and paid marketing can work for you, but you do have to give it the time and the commitment to generate the ROI. So it's, again, a bit of a detailed answer, but I get asked this a lot, and I have a lot to share on it. So that would be my best advice is, and the final tip I'll give with it is, when it comes to doing any kind of paid advertising, is making sure you're able to do it for at least 3 months. Even if it's a smaller budget, but you're doing it for longer, that's generally better than having a bigger budget and running adverts for a short amount of time. And the reason for that is, again, it takes a little while to see that return depending on your business model and your pricing. So those are a lot of things to look at to get that ROI and get that return.
Thank you very much for all these insights. Is there anything specific that you would like our listeners to take from this interview?
Yeah, of course. So my advice would definitely be, with the social media side, get stuck into it, start building your audience, start networking, start connecting with people. And, one other thing I'd like to give away as well to your listeners as a thank you is a free gift that's going to help you to generate more leads, clients, and sales through social media. And that gift is my top converting email templates and top converting campaigns that I'd love to be able to share, that's going to really help on social media, whether it's a paid strategy you're doing or whether it's a free strategy. It can work for either. So if you're happy, I'd love to be able to share that.
That is great. I will include all this in the links below. What's your favorite way to be reached through social media?
So my favorite way is definitely by networking and getting to know people, for sure. I generate a lot of knowledge myself from being around the right people. And that's another advantage of social media, is you're able to network and reach people that it would normally be quite hard to talk to in real life, but you can do a lot of online networking and really meet a high caliber of people as well.
So the advice is, do a lot of networking, not just advertising, but get to know people. Maybe you can do business with them in the future. Thank you very much, Seb, for this, and thank you for being my guest tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for listening. And it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. And hopefully everyone took some value away from my session today.
Thank you, Mr. Faleskini, for this outstanding podcast. And thank you for listening to the Ask Faleskini podcast until the end. Mr. Faleskini would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And don't forget, if you want to know, ask Faleskini or listen to the Ask Faleskini podcast. In order to please the almighty algorithm, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.